Good afternoon, my dear friends. It is with such a joyful heart that I come to you today to let you know of the grand celebrations that have been going on in our side on the birth of your website. For it is even hard for me to express to you how astounded we are. You have discussed today the history of this medium who's speaking with you and myself. He did not mention to you that I had been told that he would be crossing my path in a reading that I had with another medium who described him very accurately and said our paths would cross and we would be doing great things together. So I was somewhat aware when he came into my presence almost 50 years ago now, that of who he was and what would occur. But I did not choose to let him know about that at the time, for I wanted him to come to the realization on his own about what he was destined to do and how we would work together to bring about a great body of knowledge. I did have that vision that he described of the golden thread, of watching this on the screen, the movement of things, of images, which was created by that slide presentation. It was a monumental work, a tremendous work, and a large work that eventually was created to bring about knowledge about mediumship and the Bible. And again, its goal was to bring it into the modern age. But that never came to be until now. What I did not realize at the time was that the vision that I had was not really about that slide presentation. It was really about this website. But put yourself back into time, into the early 80s, when their computers were these big, massive machines. People did not own them in their houses. The internet was not created. None of that existed. So it would be difficult for any physical person to have knowledge of that. And if they did receive visions about it, they would think that they were having a science fiction dream. It was such an impossibility then. But as you know, it has evolved now. So what I understand now was the vision I had was really about the website that has been created. For that website does deal with the Bible slightly and with many mediums and their lives and their experiences about mediumship. It is a important thing for you to understand that even though our philosophy has changed in the 50 years that we're talking about, and it has evolved beyond. The purpose of this website is not really for us, but for the people out in the world. For they will be shedding their preconceived notions of religion. They will be searching for new truths and new enlightenment. And they will be able to trace the seeds of our evolution, going back from the days when we were just talking about mediumship and we were talking about mediums and not really talking about divine energy and souls and so much other things and manifesting and all that we talk about now. But yet all that is in the website. So for people who are approaching this as their baby steps, they will be able to walk through our experiences to get to the point where they can be in understanding and enlightenment and understand that they are divine crystalline energy. For those of you who have been attending this church for decades and put yourselves back when I was walking the earth plane, you would not have resonated to talking about divine crystalline energy, that you are energy, not a person, not a physicality. You have learned that since, and people will be able to follow those footsteps through the website and be able to quickly go through those things that took us years to process and evolve and learn, and arrive much quicker to that enlightenment and that understanding. So now you can understand why we have been celebrating so much, because this grand achievement has been put into the physical world to help people unfold and to learn the truth of what they really are. We do not have the words to express our gratitude. And for you who have been witnessing this, you have also been assisting in the process, because you have been supporting this medium energetically in his endeavors and with the work that we've been doing. So it is an achievement for you, not just for the person who is speaking right now. So we thank you all for your participation and your help. And we hope that you celebrate as well in this grand achievement. We are now ready for your questions.
Thank you, Carl and friends, and we're so grateful to have you here this evening. Our first question is from Rhonda and Carol. What really happened with Charlie Kirk? Did he die, or was it all part of the movie? Was his wife involved in his murder? Was Tyler Robinson really responsible? Can you clarify this for us? Thank you.
The man you are speaking about was greatly dedicated to the work that he was doing, similar to the man who was speaking to you, the physical person we were speaking of, who's dedicated to work his life to the work that he's doing. The man who recently entered spirit, because yes, he was actually killed, understood that in a way he was following the footsteps of the great master Jesus. For Jesus understood that he was sacrificing his life for a grander principle to come to light and to be birthed. And in a way, this man, Mr. Kirk, did the same. He understood that he promoted a grand set of teachings, just like the man Jesus did, and that his sacrifice of his life would ignite those teachings into the minds of many people, just as what happened with Jesus. So he understood that, and he aligned with that, for he was conscious of his life contract in this manner. He understood what was going to happen. He understood that his truth was going to irritate many people, and that someone would be so irritated as to force his transition into the world of spirit. But he understood that when that happened, it would be like a grand explosion. Think of a balloon that is filled with seeds of knowledge, the knowledge that he was trying to teach. Thousands and millions of seeds were in that balloon. And when his life was taken and he left the world, that balloon exploded and it released all those seeds to go out all around the world. The person who's asking this question does not live in your country. She lives on the other side of the world, and yet she's asking about it. So these thoughts are going worldwide, and these thoughts are being planted into the minds of people, and they are going to grow. And the movement is going to get stronger and stronger so that it will not be able to be stopped. And the truth will come to light. It is almost as if you can think about it in human terms of a person who walks on 2 feet. Charlie Kirk was the left foot. Spirituality that you are working with is the right foot. They're both kind of connected into that body, for the 2 feet are connected into one. And in effect, that is what's happening, because when these political ideas ignite, it is going to bring about the change of government's control on people, while yours is bringing about the change of the religion's control of people. And when both those controls disappear, the merging of the freedom will occur, and grand things will happen, and you will be going into the age of knowledge, as we spoke about, without the encumbrance of those restrictions. Do you understand?
Yes. Now, was his wife involved in planning his murder?
No, she understood that it might happen, and she was somewhat prepared for it, but she did not have anything to do with it, nor did he himself. He just knew that someone was going to assassinate him, and she was aware that that was probably going to happen.
Thank you. And what about this Tyler Robinson? Was he responsible?
He was one who was inspired by by the people who he believed in, to do what he did. Yes, he was responsible. He acted on his own free will, because that is truly what he believed, that he was going to be eradicating these thoughts, when in fact he was going to be liberating them. Do you understand?
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Susan Yu. There is a lot of information going around that Baron Trump is a time traveler. Even a book was written about a young man named Baron Trump before he was born. The book was born in the mid 1800s. The book was written in the mid 1800s. Can you comment on if he is a time traveler and the significance in history? Thank you.
If you wish to use the term time traveler, you can. The individual you are referring to is again someone who is similar to the person who you last spoke about, has a mission in life. His mission is to accomplish grand things when the time is right. His mission was prophesied many years ago. It was foreseen many years ago. Similar to like your website was foreseen many years ago. Did the person who foresaw it really understand everything that he was seeing? Probably not. But he wrote down many of the details about this individual that he saw. And many of those details are going to be quite accurate in order for the individual, the Baron, to create his mission. He came to the world into a family because that also has a mission. For his father has a grand mission that he is carrying out, and that was also preordained, if you want to use that term. The soul of that individual signed on for that. That was his soul contract. He knew what he was going to accomplish, and he knew that he would have to go through certain training in order to accomplish it. And that is why he lived his life the way he did, as a developer, as a person who built things, as a person who brought things together, because these were all skills that he was going to need in his presidency to bring about the changes that he is accomplishing at this time. So his life too was set out and ordained ahead of time. So yes, it makes sense that his son also would have a mission, and that he would be placed in that kind of position, aligned to political power, so that he would have the ability and the connections to carry out his mission once the time is right. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you. The next question is from Sandy Hamblin. My question to Carl is, how did Spirit create the man Carl met in the white robe while climbing up the hill years ago? Carl stated that it was through, quote, objective clairvoyance, unquote. But what exactly is that? And how does Spirit create the image that humans can see with their own physical eyes? Thank you.
My friend, Spirit does not create any images. What actually happened in the situation you're talking about, and we're talking about the situation where in 1954, the man called Carl Hewitt went up on a mountaintop, and while he was there, he saw a man in a white robe. He saw him with the physical eyes, but what he saw was the spirit body of a spirit who was talking to him. So he clairvoyantly saw him, but not through his normal clairvoyance, but through objective clairvoyance. Let me explain to you, since that's what you need to know. When a medium sees a spirit, the image, what is being projected, the energy of that image is recorded in a specific brain center on the brain that travels down from that center to a part of the brain that interprets visual imagery, and therefore it is seen. But the image is coming through that brain center, not through the eye. What is happening with objective clairvoyance, which is what happened here, was that the image traveled through into the optic nerve. And into the optic nerve, it appeared to Carl that he was seeing him with the physical eyes because it actually came through the optic nerve, which is a physical sense, into the physical eyes. But yet the man in the white robe was not actually there. The man was in the spirit world, but his image traveled through the optic nerve instead of the other channel that goes through the clairvoyant center in order to get interpreted. And that is the difference. The same happens with the auditory functions with objective clairaudience, which goes through the auditory nerve, and you hear with the physical ears. So it can happen, but it is rare. It doesn't happen often. It can happen and it usually happens to someone who is a medium, who usually is clairaudient or clairvoyant in the first place. But that is the difference between objective clairvoyance and regular clairvoyance. Regular clairvoyance is through the sixth sense, it's extrasensory perception. Objective clairvoyance is through the normal sense of seeing. The image is directed into the optic nerve, and therefore the person thinks they're seeing it because it feels as if it's physically there. But if the person went to touch that image, they couldn't because it's not there. But the energy of the spirit would prevent the person from even attempting to touch them, because that is part of the way it is arranged. Do you understand?
Very interesting. Thank you. The next question is from Susan Yu. Is the heart a portal? If so, can you talk about how to tap into it in its highest way? Thank you.
Would you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Is the heart a portal? And if so, can you talk about how to tap into it in its highest way?
The question you ask is difficult to answer. Portals are a entrance into energy. To say that the heart is a portal might be true for one person, but definitely not for another. Another, it might be a different organ, it might be a certain place, it might be many different things. It might be, as we said, a certain place. You must understand that every physical person is vibrating on a certain frequency, and it depends on the frequency of the person of how things will manifest and how things happen. So not everything is universal for every single person. And what you are speaking of at the time, the heart as a portal, might be true for a few people, but not for most. It would depend on the frequency. To use a portal, a person needs to focus their energy on that specific spot or that specific frequency and to merge with that frequency. It is kind of like a blending of energy. It's very similar to what is occurring before your eyes right now with me speaking through this medium. We blended our energy and I'm able to speak. I do wish to make a comment right now, and you may have noticed that this medium is speaking a bit differently today, and he is not swaying back and forth as was his usual custom. And we wish to explain to you that this medium has been taking a trance course, and his teacher has, if you want to use the term, opened the portal to him to get into a deeper state of trance, so that he no longer needs to sit and rock as he used to. And so we are operating in a deeper level than had been previously accomplished. And for that, we are most grateful. So as you were talking about portals are going to be very different for very different people. And in the case of this medium, it was his teacher who was able to facilitate his entering and merging in a deeper level, going through that barrier and allowing this to happen. So perhaps you have a better concept of the idea of what a portal is from this example. Do you understand?
Thank you. Our next question is from Rhonda. Is the UK headed for major civil unrest over the digital ID issue? And if so, will the government be overthrown? Thank you.
The country that you speak of has many I'm at a loss for the right word. Trigger points, power points, explosive points. I forget the right word. It's not being accessed. But many points that could explode over many different topics. One of them is the ID. Another will be about the immigration. There are many different things that are going to cause much chaos within the government structure of that country. As has been stated many times before, most countries are going through a time of, well, revolution is not exactly the right term, but it will be. It is a evolution. It's going to be a liberation where the controls of the government will be exploded and abandoned, and a new form of government will take place. But that is not unique for the UK. It's going to happen to most countries in the world, including the one that you reside in right now. While there are many things that are happening to bring the people, the power back to the people, it still will be a major change that will eventually take place, even in your country. So it is something that will be happening worldwide. But yes, there will be a rebellion about the digital ID, the mark of the beast, which is what the Bible has talked about, which is what this is all about, where the people who want to control you want to label you and be able to track everything that you do, everything you buy, everything you sell, everything about you through your ID number. That is not going to go to sit well with many people in many different countries. It is not going to be accepted. It is not something that that's the people in the dark forces thought that people would accept. It isn't, and they will find that out eventually. But so that is going to be a trigger point. That's the word that I was trying to find before. And that is going to be a trigger point in the country you spoke of. Do you understand?
Thank you. The next question is from Carol. We've heard that the dark side is still in control of the HARP weather modification systems, along with the GWEN, the ground wave emergency network towers that are strategically placed across America. We hear that these systems are flooding America now with weaponized energy pulses, manipulating the atmosphere and our bodies. It's a war in full force. They are pulsing low frequency signals that directly impact our nervous system. We thought the White Hats were in control of these systems, but apparently not. Others say there are off world energies that are causing this. Can you comment? Thank you.
Many people on your planet are experiencing many different symptoms from what you're talking about, but also from the energies that are being emitted from the sun, from the energies that are being emitted from what you call off-worlders, and people from other dimensions are also bombarding the earth with energy waves. And again, so you have the energy waves on the dark side and the energy waves on the light side, and people are absorbing all of them. And this is part of the reason that some of this chaos is being formed in your planet. Some of it is being done by design, because part of what is going to happen, as we spoke about all these revolutions and these changes in government structures, this is all part of what's happening. It's part of the tug of war energetically between the dark and the light, because people are feeling the dark forces working on them and the light forces working on them, and it goes back and forth and pull them back and forth, and it caused some people to crack up. So it's caused some people to act out, such as the person who just shot the man we talked about a while ago. He was indoctrinated, but he was feeling the frequencies of this pull back and forth, and he was just compelled to act the way he did. So yes, this is all part of what is going on, and will it be in the end result? We're going into the age of knowledge, and in the end result, all these back and forth pulses will allow the liberation of people and free their minds to enter into the cage of knowledge. So it is not necessarily a bad thing, and it's not necessarily a good thing. It is just happening, and it is the part of this imbalance. It's part of the tug of war. You know what that's like, to go be pulled one way and then the other, and back and forth and back and forth, and the uneasiness it causes. And this is part of, and this uneasiness is going to cause people to make changes. Some will act negatively, some will act positively, and this is part of all part of what's going to happen. It's part of what Jesus predicted about the end times, when with all the turbulence, not only from the physical earth change kind of things, but also on the perceptions of people, and the emotions of people, and the intellects of people. Do you understand?
Okay, thank you. Our next question is from Rhonda. Did Meghan Markle fake her pregnancy and use a surrogate for her and Harry's children? Thank you.
The simple answer is no. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you. Our next question is from Susan Yu. Is planet Earth the only planet where the inhabitants are guided by spirit guides, their deceased family, ancestors, and angels? Does this happen on other planets, or on other planets are the inhabitants more in touch with their own super consciousness and do not need this type of guidance? And a second part of this question, why would a soul and spirit want to be a guide for a human being on Earth? Is it totally out of love and service and soul connection? or is there a type of karmic indebtedness? Does the human then owe something to their guides in some form? Thank you.
The answer to your question about the people in the other realms and other planetary systems is that you are correct in saying that they don't have a system of spirit guides per se, because they are more connected to the world of spirit and energies and different frequencies. So they understand that they are in contact with other dimensions and other beings from other dimensions, and do not necessarily call them spirits, but it is the same process with different labels, if you understand. Going back to the spirit worlds and guides, most often a spirit guide has had a connection with the human being that they are guiding. Whether it is a past life connection, sometimes it's a karmic connection, sometimes it's a love connection, and sometimes it is just a frequency connection that they vibrate on a similar frequency. So that and this is it is usually set up before the person incarnates into the earth plane. So before the physical person arrives in the earth, their guide is an agreement is made for their guide, who will be their guide. Now, in many cases, the physical person may progress faster than was anticipated, and sometimes there are additional guides assigned, and sometimes um, a different guide will take over for the first guide because the second guide is more compatible at that point because of the evolution of the physical person. So sometimes the guide doesn't last through the entire life of the physical person, but most times it does. Um, so that is pretty much how that is all arranged. It is done through, as you said, service and love. It is done with the idea of helping the physical person through their life, through the obstacles of their life, in order to accomplish their goals that they came to achieve during their physical life. And that is why they are assigned and agreed to do that. Do you understand?
Thank you. And that is our last question. We thank you so much.
It has been a grand pleasure for us to be able to speak to you today. Not only has it been a unique experience for us working with this particular medium because he achieved a different level, and we are working on a deeper level with him in order to give you the answers. So it is feels a little different for him, and it feels a little different for us as well. But we are most grateful for that this has been accomplished, and we want to acknowledge that, and we want you to understand that. Also, again, it is our pleasure to assist you with all the questions that you have, because it is important at this time of change that you have some idea of what's going on because of the turbulence, as we discussed before, not only within societies and nations is there turbulence, but within individual people as they are being bombarded by the different frequencies and different energies that they're not used to and are not accustomed to and are trying to adjust to. And as the frequency of the earth also changes, that is another adjustment that is being added onto it. So it is our great pleasure for us to be able to come and help you to relieve any concerns that you have as you are on this, as we say, a boat on a turbulent water, or during a storm where it's being tossed up in the air and up and down. And that's pretty much what's happening to you energetically because of these different frequencies. So again, we are most pleased to be of assistance at this time. So at this point, we are going to withdraw, and we leave you with our love and our blessings and our gratitude for all the assistance that you give this medium and all the work that is being accomplished by all of you. So be it.